Hi, my name is Ray Malik, and this is the story of my first piano book sample. Now, during this lockdown period, I started getting very antsy, and I'm sure a ton of other people out there, especially creatives, started feeling the same way. But I found out about this cool community called pianobook. Now, if you haven't heard about pianobook, it's this amazing online community created by Christian Henson and his crew that lets people all over the world submit their own bespoke samples, but they're all completely free. And at this point, there's hundreds of free samples out there. And if you're into that, I encourage you to go check it out. But I knew I wanted to create something as well because I saw so many amazing videos from amazing composers and creators out there creating samples. Now, I'm not much of a samplist. In fact, a lot of people would say, I don't know anything about it. And they would be very correct. I use these amazing videos from David and Dan and a ton of other YouTubers. I'm gonna post some links over here for you to go check out if you're interested in learning how to sample better. So the story goes, I was just looking around my house to see what I could sample, and I forgot I had these tubes laying around. They're just standard photography or Amazon delivery tubes. And I thought, hey, it might be pretty interesting if I made some sort of fun tropical or Caribbean sounding drum out of them. So for the recording process, I just set up a couple of pencil mics, and I used these low to mid-grade MXL pencil mics, and I struck the tubes with a drumstick. I tried a bunch of different mic positions, and I struck them in many different ways, but these standard tubes, they sounded awful. They were flat, they were lifeless, they were dull. I just really couldn't use them, and they weren't really inspiring. I'm sure someone who's really great at sound design could have done much better, but I just didn't bother with it. So I was feeling pretty hopeless until I remembered I had this gem laying around. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm a sucker for great design, and this canister just looks awesome. I know that's a little weird to say, but look at it. This is a great design. The rum inside's pretty good too. In addition to being delicious and looking awesome, this thing sounded amazing. It had this fun ring to it, and it immediately reminded me of a tropical or a Caribbean djembe, and so I knew I had found the sound I was looking for. So from there, I just whacked these samples straight onto my version of Cubase 10.5. Now, I had a set of loud and quiet hits so that I could just create a very simple round robin and have a variation in velocities. This way you could get a more realistic quiet hit to a louder strike. To create my instrument, I just used Contact. I loaded up these sounds and gave them a note range from about C1 to C7. You can see based on your velocity, you'll activate either the loud or quiet round robin sample. I also made sure my samples started right at the start of each hit, and I cranked up the release for them. Just allows the sound to ring out a little. Well, let's hear how it sounds. Now, you're going to be hearing these completely dry and unprocessed. It's kind of funny, it makes me immediately think of SpongeBob for some reason. Part of the reason why I like the sound so much is that it just feels very real and present. During the recording phase, I tried really hard to make sure I was recording the sound in the quietest environment possible, making sure I captured the hits with plenty of headroom. I also moved the mic around a ton, making sure I found the most pleasing sound to capture. In my opinion, capturing a great sound at the source is a surefire way of having a great mix. Otherwise, you'll have a million EQs and filters and compressors going about. That said, this is a very simple drum. Now, you may have picked up on it, but all the percussive sounds in this video are straight from this rum drum. Here's some tips on how I like to process the Barrelito tube. I had a small amount of reverb. Contact has some great convolution reverbs built into their insert effects. The djembe ones are a great starting off point. I think any reverb on your standard DAW is going to work just fine. Based on the mix, I might also do a 6 dB cut around 120 Hz and a 6 dB boost around 3.5 kHz. Lastly, play around with the extreme ends of the sample. The highs sound really poppy, like a Pringles can or a toy piano, and the low end sounds really rich and deep. I actually enjoy the low end a lot. So this is a pretty straightforward sample as far as samples go. especially compared to the array of amazing sounds there are at pianobook. I just wanted to create this video to kind of demystify this whole sampling process. I used to think it was very long or elaborate and complex, and it certainly can be, but it can also be as easy as you want it to be. And in the end, you've got this custom, bespoke sound for your sample library. And it's such a simple and easy way for you to add that unique voice or custom element to your audio work. Plus, the feeling of when you've created your own instrument is pretty cool. And this whole process, it is so gratifying that I've become addicted to it, especially after you've set up all your round robins and your note rangers on contact, and you hit the keyboard for the first time and you hear that sound. Yeah, that's an awesome feeling. I totally recommend you try it out. And so that's the sample. I've been using it here and there already. It fits in really well with some of my West African or small percussive kits, and it's got this really deep and rich low end, and so I'm pretty happy with it. I'm interested to see if you guys end up using it or if you like the sound. If you liked this video or if you thought it was interesting, please hit like and subscribe. I've got a ton more samples that I'm working on, more elaborate than this, and some fun videos as well.